Hey there, I'm Mark, and I love Maryland Heights. And one of the reasons why I love Maryland Heights is a person that we get to share today named Jaime Zayas. If you know Jaime, he is a very interesting person. He is a very energetic person, and he is so cool and so creative that for his life, he has decided to have, own, and operate with his lovely wife, his very own circus school. With all the tricks and acrobatics and entertaining, and he is a master entertainer. So my goal today is to talk as little as possible and share one of the reasons why I love Maryland Heights. So introducing to you, if you haven't already met him, Jaime Zayas. Welcome to I Love Maryland Heights, Jaime.
Thank you. Not even my mom will say all those nice things.
All right, so Jaime, the reason why I really wanted to share you with Maryland Heights on this conversation is a circus school. You teach kids how to juggle, walk on stilts. You teach them how to do acrobatics. You teach them how to tell jokes. You teach them how to entertain. Why do you run a circus school? Like, why that?
Because I need to eat. That's what it is.
Did you grow up doing entertainment?
No, I did not. Circus is one of those things that it was never in my, people call it now, the vision boards.
Yeah.
Like, it was never a thing. Like, in Puerto Rico, we had, the circus will come to town and you will go see them. But it wasn't never, and for that matter, performing arts, they were never in my circle of things. It was either music or painting. I grew up, I always wanted to be an engineer. I was a big fan of engineering, and still to this day. My goal was, I want to be an engineer. So I went to school in Puerto Rico to the top college of engineering for mechanical engineering because I saw myself, I want to shoot rockets in NASA. That was my thing. Become an aerospatial engineering. That was my thing. Theater was never in my path until I got to college. So, yeah.
Rockets. So if you were invited to go to Mars, would you accept the invitation? Would you go?
No. Why?
Man, I would love to go to Mars. I don't really know anybody.
The movie's fun. What is that movie with Matt
The
Damon?
Martian?
Yeah, that's a fun movie.
He would have died in the first 3 hours.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know. I don't know that I can hold. At first I thought I wanted to be an astronaut until they told me I was too tall for that. I don't know what is the height requirement, but they told me, you're too tall. You will not fit in a spaceship. I said, okay, I will be an engineering and design the rockets and stuff like that. So, yeah.
When you were going to college to go for rocket science, what made you decide to make it instead where you're launching kids off trapezes?
So that's okay. So that's where then becomes a God calling to my life. So I was in college. I remember I had one of my aunts. She was always like, hey, now that you're going to college, find a good campus ministry where you can serve the Lord and stuff like that. I'm like, Didi, that's great. Thank you. But I'm going to be an engineer. I don't have time to go to campus ministry or any other extracurricular activities. So then one night, one of my roommates, he comes in and he gave me, it wasn't a tract, but he had the times and location where this campus ministry will meet in college. And I saw the times. I'm like, I don't think I have time to go. So one day, because they met at the same time I had class on Fridays. So one day I knew that I didn't have the class. So I said, okay, let's go check it out. So I went check it out. And long story short, I stayed there for 4 years as part of that campus ministry. And the fun part was that after a month or two of being part of the team or part of this campus ministry, one of the guys there, he was a work study sound technician for the theater in the campus. So he said, hey, I need somebody to help me out doing lighting design, right? Managing the lighting board for the theater. And I said, sure, find somebody else. That was never part of my life. Never part of my life. I don't know. I don't even know why you're talking to me about this. And he said, well, they're going to pay you $20 an hour for doing that. I'm like, I never had a job. Like, I never had, the classic teenager that work at the fast food restaurant. So I said, sure, let's do it. What is it? I'll teach you. So then he actually taught me a little bit about sound and lighting. So then for those 4 years that I was in that college, I did sound and light at the theater.
While becoming a rocket scientist.
Correct. So then that was part of the whole thing that he trained me on that. So we will do like the lighting for the plays of the theater group at college. Anybody that had if there were a debate or a presentation from any of the departments, we will do that because it was the theater of the school. And then at the same time, this campus ministry was pretty fun. They will do every semester an event to share the gospel with people, and they will take stuff from movies or songs, and they will change the lyrics and the theme just to share the gospel of Jesus with them, right? So it was a funny thing. I remember that the first time I did it, Titanic just came out as a movie. So we were goofing around with Titanic. And the whole thing of like, not even God can sink it. So we just goof around with that. So I like that because even though theater was not part of my life, in class, in high school, I was the guy that was saying jokes to the teacher, right? It was funny because I was the guy that had straight grades, all A's, straight A's, except for Spanish class. That's hilarious. In high school, I got all my medals for all the classes except for Spanish. That was so funny. But the thing is that I always was saying jokes. Like the teacher will say something and I'm always like saying almost like a dad joke. So that was fun. So I was really involved in that stuff, making those theater plays. But I just saw it as, hey, this is part of extracurricular activities, sharing the gospel with people and working, blah, blah, blah. So then one night I have this dream. It was really weird, man. I go to bed and I have this dream where I saw myself. We were just finishing doing this same plays that we did in the campus ministry. But this time we were doing it in my hometown. And in the middle of that, we finished one of the plays and I'm praying for people. And I'm like, what is going on? So in that moment in the play, you know how Christianese is, right? They're sharing the gospel and doing the altar call. So in the dream, I'm inviting people to come to Jesus, Billy Graham style, right? And I finished that and I see all of a sudden in my dream, I start praying and I said, God, surprise me. And when I open my eyes in the dream, I see all these people, like literally, when you remember the Billy Graham crusades and a lot of people coming, it was kind of that feeling. I wake up sweating in the middle of the night after that. I was like, this is so, I don't know why it felt so scary, right? I'm like, my body was super tense. I'm sweating. I'm like, this is nonsense. I will not eat from Burger King before going to bed again. And, and then I just left it be. I just like, this is silly. This is probably, it's like, it's like when people having weird dreams, like I just let it be. But then I want to say it was a few months after that, I'm in campus ministry. I stay for the weekend. I'm in the college. Usually I would just, because Puerto Rico is not very big. So every weekend I'll just go back home to my hometown and then come back on Sunday. But that weekend I stayed and I remember my pastor, he was speaking at a church close to our campus. So I went to see him. I didn't share this dream with anybody because I'm like, this is nonsense. So I let it be. So I remember my pastor, when he finished preaching, he started praying, praying for people. And he said something like something like this. He said, if anybody here have had a dream that they feel that God was telling them something and you don't know if it was God or not, I just want to encourage you to pray about that. But I just think that God is really telling you something about this dream you had. For me, that was like, poof, it went over my head because I'm like, okay, that's not with me. And then I realized it and I was like, oh, hold on. I had this weird dream that I woke up really sweaty. Maybe that's me. And I started praying. I remember I was really scared. I was like, what is this nonsense? No. So I started praying. It's like, because at the time, because of being involved in both the campus ministry, doing all these plays, and being doing the lighting design at the theater, there was something in me. It's like, oh man, I really I'm enjoying this more than being an engineer,
But not on the sound technician side.
Right.
But more like
it was lighting.
People,
it was, yeah, well.
Acting with people.
Yeah, exactly. The being able to, I say the being on stage, but not, because I don't really care about being on stage. I consider myself being an introvert, right? It was more the idea of bringing joy to people that really excite me and all the silly jokes and stuff like that. So I remember that day when my pastor finished preaching, I had this guy that he was sitting a few chairs over. He comes to me out of nowhere. Because he doesn't know anything. And he hugs me and he says, why are you afraid? He said, what are you afraid? I'm like, what? Because just a second before he comes and hugs me, I'm praying, God, I'm afraid of doing the change, of leaving engineering and going to study theater. So anyways, long story short, after that, it took me like 2 years to realize that this is what God really wanted me to, right? The calling. So I decided, okay, if this is what you want me to do, I'm going to leave engineering and I'm going to study theater. And that's what I did. I have my theater degree. And at the same time, I went to circus school in Puerto Rico because I know that this is really what makes me fulfill, for a lack of a better word.
So why circus? With juggling, stilts, makeup?
Excellent question.
Why that instead of Shakespeare plays?
Correct. So my training is that kind of theater, right? It's Shakespeare. It was fun in Puerto Rico. We'll do Shakespeare in Spanish. It was funny. But doing all the old plays. But at the same time, because I felt like, okay, I'm going to use this to share hope with people, to share the gospel with people. When I had the opportunity, I like it to be in a way that really is inviting and welcoming, right? That there's no way you can ignore what I'm doing because like, oh, that's cool. And then when I get to share with you, it's like, oh, I want to listen to this guy because he's funny. And
Yeah.
it's really caught the eye because for me, I always saw it as something in the street. Like I remember in theater school, we had this professor that she would like to do shows outside on the streets. And I really like that idea of being outside and have the people gathered that is not just a formal stage. So yeah. So then I remember I knew I liked the comedy. So in college, I was taking a mime class, a pantomime. And there was this guy who put together the the Central American and Caribbean Mime Festival every year. So he will bring mimes and clowns from around the world and do a weekend of presentations. So I went one year in 2003 and I saw this guy from Arizona performing mime. And I saw his style. I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do. It's so captivating. So then when I read the program in the festival, it showed an ad that this guy was going to be teaching a 2-week intensive in Ohio. So I flew to Ohio. I trained with them for 2 weeks.
From Puerto Rico.
From Puerto Rico. And then when I came back to Puerto Rico, one of the guys that were in the festival is a Puerto Rican mime. So I went to him and I said, okay, brother, this is what I want to do. And he had a school. He had a circus school back home. And it's like, I really want to grow in this. So I was at his school for 1 year, training in mime, clowning, and circus. So, yeah.
So out of all your experiences, I didn't know that you did the miming. Out of all your, because I have seen you at the Renaissance Fair. Do you do the Renaissance Fair every year?
We only done it 2 years. 2 years in St. Louis. Yeah.
I remember you were right by the jousting field, and I didn't know it was you. I just saw a really neat act starting up, and I thought, holy smokes,
it was fun.
This is cooler than the knights bashing each other with swords. It was neat because you and your wife were there.
Do you remember which year was this?
I don't remember what year it was.
It was the first or the second because we did 2018 and 2019.
It was amazing because you had the trapeze set up, you had the angle thing, and it was so neat. So out of all the circus things that you got into, what is your favorite part of circus? Is it the miming? Is it the juggling? Is
100. Well, I tell
lighting people on fire.
Yeah. I tell people that I'm like, obviously I can juggle, but I'm not a great juggler.
Can you show us?
No, but I tell people that my thing, I'm a clown. I'm just a clown through, right?
A payaso.
Yeah. Juggling is just one of the tools in my belt.
Okay.
Trapeze, yes, I can do trapeze. But I'm not a trapeze artist. I don't have the flexibility of a trapeze artist. It's just part of my tools as a clown to tell a story.
Hey, pause real quick on that. You don't have the flexibility. Is flexibility something that you can get if you have the need and the desire? Because here's the thing.
Yes, you could. Yeah.
I'm 6'5", and I would love to be able to do the splits. Is this one of these things that, hey, not everybody can do the splits, or can everybody do the splits in your experience?
Well, it's like some people are more natural than others. Like right now, I have this gentleman who is 50 years old who called me in the fall and he said, I want to learn how to do one-arm handstands.
Okay.
And I was like, sure. I didn't realize he sounded really young on the phone. And when he registered, I saw his age is like 50K.
Did he do it?
Oh, yeah, he's taking private lessons with me every week now.
What skill do you like doing the most?
One that I love, it's like when I do my trapeze piece, which is mainly a clown piece, and I'm hanging upside down and juggling upside down from my knees. Yeah. I just love it. Mainly because when I
Wait, hold on. Let me process this.
Yeah.
So you're hanging from a trapeze upside down.
Yeah, from my knees. Yeah.
And you're juggling. So instead of the balls going from your hands over your head, they're in your hands going over your knees.
Correct.
I just want our listeners to realize how ridiculously amazing that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, imagine that I'm like this and I'm just juggling like this.
Yeah, that is so neat. So that's like your favorite trick? That's like your favorite thing?
It's one of my favorites because when I was goofing around trying to figure out, like, what would be neat to see? Like, okay, I know I will not be doing flips because I'm not a flipper, and it's like, okay, but I can juggle. It's like, I think it makes sense. So I tried it and I just added in. It's always fun because the way I get to it, I made it funny, especially for the younger audiences. But then when we did it at the Renaissance Festival that you mentioned, I had this guy who's a writer and he writes for different magazines. And he's like, okay, I saw that was very impressive. I need to write an article. So his article, he mentioned it, like, I was so impressed by it. It's like, oh, okay. And mainly because probably somebody somewhere in Russia can do it or have done it before, but I never seen it. So that's why I'm like, oh.
So this would be a perfect opportunity. Your name is Jaime Zayas, and you own a school here in Maryland Heights, a circus school, and it's called Kinetic Tapestry. Do you have a website that you want to share?
KineticTapestry.org.
Okay, and then what's the phone number to kinetictapestry.org?
314-939-7760.
So recently, a couple of big famous circuses have closed because they just can't seem to sustain large crowds because the the talking point is you can see anything more impressive online. You know, you could see, but I'm not endorsing that. I'm saying if you're listening to this and you've got kids, or maybe you're a 50-year-old who can't do a one-arm handstand like one of Jaime's students just did, this is one of those things where whether people are going to show up and watch you or not, it's amazing to see a live show. Because like you said, in the street, I could find something on the internet. But now with AI, I mean, I could find a lion that juggles upside down with AI.
Even like when we do shows and somebody videos one of our shows and then they want to show me the video, it's like, don't do that. Don't do that. Because video just sucks the life out of it.
It makes it flat. It's impersonal. Correct. It's not in the moment. There's no risk because you know it's fine.
Correct.
But also, this is neat stuff that you're able to do. And it's just for the experience. So if you've got kiddos, this would be a really fun thing to just get involved. And if you're an active adult,
adults too. Like we teach anybody up until you're on your deathbed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or if you're an active adult, you know, and you're like, hey, I want to do something fun. And a lot of these things, you don't have to spend your whole life doing. You can just like learn how to juggle, and then you're you've got a fun skill at a talent show.
What I tell people is like our program is recreational in the sense that the idea is you saw it, you want to try it. Perfect. There's gonna be skills that, for whatever reasons, you don't want to try, and that's fine. Now, if you come in, it's like, I really want to do this. I want to be a circus performer. We will train you the same way. And we have a lot of older folks. I think right now at some point, we had a lady in her late 60s taking a class. And it's great because then what it is mainly you're working to stay active. And it's a fun way to stay active. If you don't like going to the gym and benching a bunch of weight, you just come here and it's about the same. You bench your own weight, like pulling yourself up in the air.
Hey, so when you're watching a show, when I saw your show at the Ren Fair, and I've seen some productions that you've done and done things here at the church I serve, I'm always impressed. And one of the things I'm very impressed about you is not only do you have the skills, but you are a master entertainer.
Thank you.
So I've seen you and your wife do shows, and your wife is extraordinarily gifted. But you seem to be the lead talker, the lead entertainer, engager with the people. You are a master entertainer.
Thank you.
If someone were to ask me what makes for a good sermon, I would say it's got to be connected to the Bible deeply and true. And then it has to have 1 point. 1 point. Because some people would do like a 5-point sermon or something like that. And then nobody's listening. You know, they can't process that. So as a master entertainer, not just incredibly skilled, as a master entertainer, what makes for a good show?
What makes for a good show? Wow, that's a great question.
And I'm asking this because there are people listening who are, you know, executives of accounting firms. Or they are personal trainers, or just life. And so whether they're leading a circus school or not, like what makes a great show? What engages people? What makes people lean in?
Because, for example, in the circus, I like to tell, so P.T. Barnum, right, from the famous Barnum and Bailey Ringling Brothers shows, he used to say that the clown is the peg, you know, like when you hang your coats, that the circus hang its coats. So they made, for them, the clowns were the main act. Not just all the people flying. I had one of my clown teachers. He used to be a clown for Cirque du Soleil, right? And I remember he would tell me this. I asked him one day, it's like, can you share with me the story of how you got there and what was your first experience? And he said, like,
well, first I was born in Puerto Rico and I decided to be a rocket scientist.
Oh no, this guy, he was from Spain. This guy was from Spain. And so what he told me was that, well, they saw me at a festival in Europe doing clowning. And they needed a replacement for one of their shows in Vegas. So they saw me, so they hired me. And he said, it's very interesting because Cirque du Soleil, they go around the world and they hire all these acrobats. So when they go to Canada, to their headquarters, the acrobats, they have a coach, right? And they do what the coach said. Okay, it's almost like being a potter and the clay. So, and then the coach takes this clay, which is these acrobats, and get the act. Obviously with their input and whatnot. But he said, as a clown, I remember I showed up and the first day they said, well, you have a meeting in a little bit with the production team. So he thought he was going to be the director and all the people. So he said he walks into this conference room and he had the customer design, the lighting designer, the prop maker, everybody. And they were like, okay, tell us what your act is going to be. Because the clown is the one that really has to create their own act. You know, because if you're not funny, if you don't connect with the audience, there's nothing. So for me, a good show, you need to be a good technician. Like, for example, you can have somebody that juggles 10 balls, and that's great. But if you're not connecting with the audience in a way, it's like stand-up comedians, right? When you hear a stand-up comedian, at least what I enjoy is the fact that they tell the stories So it relates to you. It's like, oh yeah, that's funny because it reminds me of my mother, for example, that kind of stuff. So for me, a good show has to be, it has to be truthful. It cannot be forced, and it needs to connect with the audience more than just the, wow, look at that person jumping with a motorcycle over a bunch of people. So it gotta be that. So it's that for me is what a good show is to be able to connect. Yeah.
So what sort of ways do you connect with your audience? Like what works?
For me, given the fact that I'm from Puerto Rico, I make so many jokes about the idea of being Hispanic and stuff like that, and speaking in Spanish. So for me, I like that connection. Like I personally don't take myself too seriously on stage. I don't stress about being perfect because I know I'm a clown and that's part of it. I know I'm going to mess up. But for me, I like to engage with the audience in a way that is like, okay, that guy is on stage, but I don't feel, he feels like me. Does that make sense? For me, that's the best part for me. It's like, I just made the jokes that relates to you. I'm very approachable and not just sit on the stage like being, look at me, how masterful I am at juggling 10 balls. I was like, no, it's just, hey, it's like what we're doing right now, like sitting and sharing stories and joking. So for me, that's my thing.
Now, do you script your jokes or are you just in the moment?
Oh, great question. We have a show coming up at a school, and I asked them, it's like, okay, how much time do we have? Well, you have 45 minutes. So I told my wife, okay, we have to plan for 30. Because I know that there's some stuff in our show that we can go at it. Like if somebody says something from the audience or a reaction, we're just gonna milk it a lot. Like until we know that, okay, that now it's getting boring. So for me, that's the thing. It's like how funny the joke can be. You script it, and yeah. Well, that's the reason why I don't have a stand-up comedy show. I cannot read a script. Like I'm like, when my wife said, you should write a show. And it's like, no, I just want bullet points because I know what I'm going to say and then I'm just going to go at it. And for me, it's so more natural that way. I have an order of what's going to happen, but then, and I tell the jokes and whatnot, but sometimes in the moment, something happened. And that's a beautiful thing of doing stuff with my wife is that we know each other so much now that she might say something and I'm going to answer that right away. I cannot let it be. Like we both have training in improvisational theater. Mm-hmm. So that for us, and moments like that, the audience loves it because if something happened in the moment, either I drop something and I make a joke or a little kid says something, I was like, oh, you drop a knife and you react to that, it just makes it a bit more hilarious. So even when you have an audience member comes on stage, it's just even better.
I have noticed when I'm speaking or preaching, I will have the general thrust and gist of what I want, and maybe one or two stories that will kind of help. But I genuinely, authentically create it in the moment. And that allows me to be much more real with the people. So, I used to memorize my sermons word for word, it'd be like 3 or 4 pages. But I realized, one, no one's listening that close.
Yeah, it's like a school report.
Yeah, and I would preach it, and I'd still make eye contact because I had it all memorized. But if you actually are generating it in the moment, now I suspect there are certain jokes that hey, this is going to be a good joke. Some of the jokes that you said like 20, 25 times, and it sticks, it's good.
Oh, yeah.
But you're actually creating your presentation more or less in the moment.
Yeah.
That's neat.
I mean, we have the order, we have the act, so obviously because we want to make sure that we remember everything we're doing. But there's moments that we're just open for the jokes. Like whatever, it all depends on the audience. So yeah.
And that connects with audiences so well.
Correct.
So when people are leading a meeting, leave some space for interaction, engagement, asking questions. Yeah. So when people are master communicators, oftentimes they will intentionally weave in human moments. So they'll make a mistake. Right. Or they'll say something that just wasn't quite right. But it's intentional to lead you in. Hostage negotiators do this all the time. They'll often make a deal they'll often offer a deal that the hostage taker will never accept. So that way the negotiator can say, oh, I'm so sorry. I should have thought that through. And then the person that they're talking to is emotionally connected to this person because they forgave them. It's very manipulative, but it's very effective. So just between you and me, when you're doing a show.
And everybody else that is listening.
Which is my mom.
I just saw on my phone, my mom calling me. It's like, she heard me. What's she doing?
That's right. So just between you and me, hey, when you're doing a show and you're juggling something, like let's say you're juggling 10 balls, will you fake dropping it just to make people kind of like lean on the edge of their seat? Like, because if you do that, then they'll lean on the edge of their seat and they're like, can he actually pull this off?
Well,
And you're like, hey, look, I have juggled flaming chainsaws. 10 tennis balls are fine. Do you ever do that?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, for example, I when I'm doing my trapeze piece as a clown, I on purpose makes it look like the show you saw at the Renaissance Fair. There's a moment when I'm swinging on the trapeze and I fake down falling, but I'm going to catch myself. And those moments get the audience like, what's happened? Like, yes, there's many moments that it's like, oh, that's on purpose. I use it as jokes to connect to something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you mentioned something about the if you're in the corporate world. One thing I always like to tell people is that a clown, like something that you can apply to your everyday work. And I actually encourage my students, even in their academics, science, Spanish, math, whatever classes, the idea of making a mistake is good, right? When you're a clown, something I learned from doing clowning and from my teachers is that a clown recognizes their mistake, their tragedy, and enjoys their success. Meaning, you are on stage, you prepare this joke, awesome. The joke clicked, milk it, right? Keep going until you feel that, okay, they're not laughing anymore, what do I do now? Or you had the joke, right, or the clown bit, nobody reacted. What are you going to do? Are you going to force it and shame the person in front of you or the person in the audience? Or are you going to use that as a moment to say, oh, regroup, that didn't click. And then get from that, make something that is funny, right? So it's that idea. It's like, okay, not everything failed. Okay, I recognized my mistake. I was able to pull, like would you say, like take a card out of your sleeve, right? The point is that it's like, okay, my joke didn't work. How can I save that joke if it's savable, right? I did. Now the audience is laughing. So at that moment, I recognize my mistake, and now I'm gonna enjoy the moment. Like, oh, that was great. Like that worked. That was a fantastic connection. And I think in everyday life, in work, in school, that's something so beautiful. Is that idea of like you don't have to be perfect. And especially to my kids in school, I always tell them, when you're in school, this is where you made the mistakes. This is where you're learning new stuff. And for example, when I'm teaching them clowning, at first they always feel like odd. It's like, I feel very stupid on stage right now because it's weird to do this. And I say, yes, but it's funny.
You're a clown.
Yeah, I tell them, if you feel stupid, you're in the right path.
If you were standing on stage reading a book quietly, or watching TV, you'd be doing normal. That's why reality TV, they get them to do ridiculous things, like, oh no, you wore your boxers to cut the grass. Oh, that's weird. Right. You got to do weird.
Yeah.
Hey, so when you're watching shows like America's Got Talent or things like that, and there's no professional endorsement of America's Got Talent. That's not a paid endorsement.
Yeah.
Or like Saturday Night Live or some show like that. Do you get bored? Or are you thinking of ideas? Or are you thinking like, oh, I would have done it this way? Or are you still amazed?
I enjoy seeing other performers do stuff. For me, it's so great. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that was funny. That was clever. As I will say stuff, and it's like, oh, that's clever. I wish I thought of that. That's funny. So, I enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
I will often listen to, because I'm a pastor, I'll often listen to other preachers and just hear, and I'm examining it on every level. How accurate it is, how he said it, his timing, how he connected, how he really expanded or really explored something. And so I can get so many great ideas from listening and looking at people who are in my field that are just phenomenal. So you'll do this as a performer?
Yeah. It's how you learn. You start seeing, I was like, oh, that was good. I like that. I might apply some of that. Plus, for me, when I go to see a show, I am the kind of audience, the same way that our church, I tell people I grew up Baptist, but it's almost like a Pentecostal in Puerto Rico. Like the preacher will say something, and it's like, yes, amen, yes. So when I go see a show,
would you say like that, or would you say, sí, amen?
Yes.
Sí.
Eso es. But I go to see a show. I'm the worst person to see a ballet performance in the United States. Because for some reason, if there's any ballet dancers, they're not offended with me, okay? But listen to me. When I see a ballet, they're always so serious. Don't you dare clap. I'm like, how do you expect me to not clap and yell when a ballerina is doing 100 spins in one leg? That's an amazing act, and I love it. I really love seeing live performances, and performers really enjoy that because it's that whole thing of like you're doing it honestly. You really enjoy their performance, and I think as a performer, having that feedback is encouraging. That there's like, oh, okay, it's worth all my hours of rehearsal and practice. So at least someone in the audience is getting it.
Yeah.
I remember on that line, I had to tell this story. It's pretty funny. So Lin-Manuel Miranda, I don't know if you know who that guy is.
He's the guy who did Hamilton
right?
and then also
In the Heights.
In the Heights, yeah.
Right. So remember when in the
Just
Heights.
as a note, I'm impressed because he wrote that whole thing. And there are so many layers. There's there's a song, a separate musical piece for every year that Hamilton was alive. And all the different genres of music. It is phenomenal.
Oh yeah. No, it's great. Like what? So when In the Heights did their first national tour, I think it was 2010, and they came to St. Louis, I told my wife, we are doing. I'm not a musical theater person. I don't like musicals. I think they're overacting.
Oftentimes.
You know what I mean? I remember the first time I went to the Muni.
But they have to convey that emotion.
Yeah.
To be sad, they can't just go, oh, sniffle. They have to be like,
So I remember, when I heard In the Heights were coming, I told my wife, I think at the time we were still dating. I don't remember the time. But the thing is that they came to St. Louis and I said, I'm going to buy tickets at the Fox. I'm going to spend the money. I'm going to buy the tickets on the balcony on the front row, right? So we went. And I wanted to do that because there's a song called Carnaval de Barrio. So it's all about the different Hispanic communities, how proud we are about our culture. And there's a part that says about getting your flag from your country and take it out. So I did that on purpose. And I went in a jacket suit, sitting on the most expensive front row of the balcony. I had my Puerto Rican flag in my jacket, like a big one. Dude, when that song came out and all the actors are bringing the flag, I took my flag out. I stood up. Everybody, because those are the expensive seats. It's like the whoo. No, you don't do that in the theater. But then I took it and I was like, yes, stand up there on the front row. I remember after the end of the show, I go back to meet some of the performers because I wanted to know where they were from. And they asked me, were you the guy with the flag? And the audience are like, yes. Oh, you don't know how much that meant to us. We were not expecting people really being engaged with it. So that's what I do it because I think it's fun for them, for a performer to get that kind of. So, the ladies behind me, they were not happy. The very high-end ladies behind me, they were not happy.
They weren't from Puerto Rico, clearly.
No. They were like, what is this guy doing?
Doesn't he know you're just supposed to sit here and dead-face watch these performers?
Yes. Do not enjoy yourself.
I paid $6,000 a seat to sit here and look grumpy. Hey, so when you're doing your bits, I know sometimes performers feel compelled to talk about current events. And so I don't really think there's a right answer or not.
Sure.
But I do know as a pastor, I try very intentionally to not talk about things that are politically charged, that aren't necessary for me doing what I'm called to do. Right. So as some comedians make their whole bit out of political jokes.
Correct.
But then you irritate 60% of your audience. 50% hate what you said because they're more liberal or more conservative. Yeah. And another 10%, you're not liberal enough or conservative enough. Right, so you irritate most of your audience. In your bits, when you're doing these, do you encourage people to avoid political statements, political humor, or do you say harpoon both sides?
For me, so see, on my end, my goal, again, as a believer in Christ, I believe that we're all the image of Christ, right? The image of God. And my idea is like, you come to see my show, you spend, I'm going to tell you a good one on this. You spend all your day working all week. Here's Friday night, Saturday night. You come to see my show. You want to chill out.
Escape reality.
Now, do I believe that as a performer, you have something to share? Of course. Just share what you want, no problem. But in my case, I don't make any of that. The only joke, if anything, on current event, if you want to put it that, I say current events, but we've been doing these jokes forever.
Are you going to tell a Titanic joke?
No. It's when my wife and I are on stage, we introduce each other. It's like, oh yeah, we're juggling together. So we're talking about teamwork. So my wife say, oh yeah, we're so good at working together because we're married. And then I say, yes, I married her because I needed my green card. Right? So people are like, oh, that's funny, but no, it's weird. I was like, don't worry about it. I'm a U.S. citizen since 1917 from Puerto Rico. We're citizens. So I start joking like that. But it's not meant to punch. Because for me, it's like, yes, I just want people to enjoy themselves instead of being like, oh, here we go. They're going to preach at me. And it's like, no, but do I feel that people can say whatever? Of course. You can talk about current events. I don't see the need for that because that's not where my identity is in. Some people ask me, it's like, oh, what do you consider yourself? Hispanic, Latino, Puerto Rican? It's like, I'm just Puerto Rican. That's it. It's not my identity. I don't make my acts out of that. I don't have a need. Because that's what I feel like. Either if you're on conservative or liberal, you're just trying to put the other people down. And for me, that's not fun. There's no need. We're not going to solve division that way. You know what I mean? For me, it's like, no. It's like if you do something to me and I said, okay, I forgive you, but I'm going to keep this in my back pocket just in case. You know what I mean? Right. For me, that doesn't bring any healing, no? And my heart is like, I want everybody to have a good time, enjoy instead of going into a bunch of political stuff. And to that point, I just tell you a story. I don't know how much you read the newspapers. I don't, but I just saw that.
I don't read any newspapers. I do read the news, though.
No, the news, yes. So there was this guy, I believe he's a professor, I don't remember what he was, of culture or theater from WashU, from Washington University. And he was curious. He said, I'm going to go to Branson, Missouri. I don't know if you've ever been to Branson.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because he was curious on how is it possible that Branson, this little bitty town in all hillbilly countryside of Missouri, can have shows happening all year long with full theaters. And here in St. Louis, where we are like the high class, we're the city, how come nobody comes to see our shows? Or theater shows are really low. So what he discovered when he went is like, they're completely different from, he recognizes, he's on the liberal political spectrum. He recognizes that. And he said, what I felt when I was in Branson is that they're not preaching to me about like, oh, you did something wrong or whatever. They're just really saying jokes and having a good time with music. They're nothing about, I hate you because you're conservative or I hate you because you're liberal. It's just fun. And he said, and I think that's what's going on in theater, is that a lot of people use their place to preach a hard point to make you feel bad. And it's like, nobody wants that. I don't want to pay $60 for you to tell me I'm horrible.
And a lot of entertainers, their opinions carry so much weight. And, it's like, hey, so I like this guy who was in this movie. And so then he gets on, the socials or, an interview, and he just like harpoons somebody that he doesn't like on one of the sides.
Right.
And it's like, just because you're really good at pretending to be somebody that you're not actually, like a spy or an accountant or whatever, doesn't mean that your opinion is informed. In fact, if somebody is really good at chopping down trees, I'm probably not going to ask him to, do an appendectomy, take out my appendix, because he's so good at chopping down trees, he's probably not going to be gentle enough.
He's going to chop your appendix.
Right. Or if someone is really good at electrical, I'm probably not going to ask him to do my taxes.
Right.
Because if he's really good at electricity, he spent all his time doing that instead of this other stuff. And so I find it so funny and so tragic that we'll let superstars on, musicians or things like that. Someone might be great at guitar because they spend 15 hours a day playing the guitar. That means they're not spending 4 hours a day talking to people who are politically or historically informed. So have them teach how to play the guitar. But there's other stuff, And the more we specialize in one thing, the less we're likely to specialize in something else. And, it's tragic. Hey, so 2 quick questions I got to ask you.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies of all time is The Greatest Showman. But one of the reasons...
the one with, what is his name? What is the name of the actor?
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. He's one of my favorite. I love that guy so much.
So he has this role as a P.T. Barnum, and he's the entertainer. Now,
man, that was the best year for our company. You know how many people wanted to have a circus
I bet.
At their church? We made so much money, man.
I bet. But
carry on.
When you look at that movie, one of the things that he did was it was all like smoke and mirrors, like he was like tricking, like this person who comes in and he says, I'm 7 feet tall, and he goes, 9'10", wow, And, the person goes, I weigh like 300 pounds, and he goes, wow, 500 pounds. So there's a little bit of manipulation, playful manipulation in performance. When you're doing that in your line of work, when you look at that, do you look disingenuous? Do you look at that and go, that's kind of cheating? Or do you go, that's a great show?
You mean like exaggerating? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like where you just kind of like, all right, the point is the show.
Right. I don't know.
So like when you're juggling stuff on fire, is it real fire or is it stage fire?
Oh, no, it's real fire.
Wow.
Yeah, it is real fire. It's one of those things. My wife and I always joke that there's some tricks that the simplest tricks are the ones that the audience are more like, wow. Like juggling fire. There's no difference between juggling 3 clubs or the same torches, no lit. There's no difference between juggling them on a lit and no fire. You know what I mean?
Because you're just doing the same thing.
It's the same movement. There's a mental aspect of it that when you're learning, you're like, this thing's gonna. But if you just trust it, that when you throw that, because they're weighted, right? They're weighted in a manner that you just release them and they're gonna do the flip themselves. You don't have to do much. But if once you pass that moment of like, I'm gonna get burned, no, you're fine. You see what I mean? But the audience is like, whoa!
Right.
I'm like, I'm just doing the same.
So juggling flaming chainsaws is just as easy as juggling regular chainsaws. I don't know because
I never juggled flaming chainsaws.
Well, I expect you to accept this challenge to juggle flaming chainsaws by the end of the year.
Oh, no, that's fine. You can have that challenge. I ain't doing that. I want to leave for a couple 50 more years, if possible,
It's just like juggling regular chainsaws.
I mean, I can escape out of a straight jacket hanging upside down. Yes, I can do that.
Okay, so another question I got for you is I have learned that people who live in St. Louis have a very strong attachment to Provel cheese. Now, from Puerto Rico, you are from a culture which has queso and all sorts of delicious cheeses and dips and all sorts of quesadillas, just so many cheese experiences and exposure. What are your thoughts on Provel cheese?
Is Provel the cheese that they put in emos? Is that what it is?
It is, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Do you really?
I do. People can say whatever about the Emo's cracker pizza, but I love it. I just like the sweetness that it has. Like, we buy it in our house and we just put it in salads and stuff. I just like it.
I think it's good in salad.
Yeah, I just like cheese. I don't care.
Even if it's Provel?
Yeah. Wow. I have. St. Louis is one of those things, man. I tell people, like, when I moved here, one of the things that people always ask me is like, what are you doing here from being in a tropical island? Because I moved in the middle of winter. And I said, well, my wife is from here. There's no choice. But, my wife is from St. Louis. No
now,
choice.
Did she tell you to like Provel cheese? Or
No. But I enjoy St. Louis so much. Like, I think because people think of Caribbean and they think, oh, it's exotic, right? Well, in the Caribbean, we don't have the seasons.
Correct.
Not that I like winter. But I remember that first year that I moved in winter and I hated it so much. But when spring came around and you start seeing the tulips plop up, and it's like, oh, what is this witchcraft? She's getting green again. It's like, what is this? This is beautiful.
That plant is pink. Plant is pink.
Yes,
Something's wrong.
Yes.
Call the pastor. Let's do an exorcism.
Like, seeing deer and raccoons and skunks, we don't have that back home. Like, the biggest mammal you will find in the wild in Puerto Rico is a cow that escaped somebody's farm. That's about it. Like, we don't have any like that. So for me, I really enjoy being here. In
Puerto Rico has a lot of cats, right?
Oh, yeah. Cats and dogs. Like, what's it called? Stray dogs and cats everywhere. So, yeah.
Chickens too, right?
Some places. Yeah. So,
hey, so I don't want people to leave this conversation without realizing.
Oh, we're done? No way. It's only like 10 minutes.
Right. Well, Puerto Rico time, it's only been 10 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't want people to leave this conversation and go, what a cool guy. I want people to leave this conversation saying, wow, what if I decided to do something unique and had a trick? So, if you contact Jaime at Kinetic Tapestry, if you contact him, you could do that if your kids are interested in some cool activity and some cool life skill. You can do that if you're an adult that wants to just, have a fun party skill. Yeah. Like, hey, look, I happen to bring my trapeze with me. Let me show you some cool tricks.
That'd be pretty funny.
But, I remember, I've got a vivid memory with one of my cousins. She was in the kitchen and we're all hanging out and she just starts juggling 3 oranges. And I remember that, I'm 46 now. And so this is, like 30, 35 years ago.
Juggling is very good for your brain. It's like playing piano. You're using both sides of your brain at the same time.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, but it's also great. Some people don't like going to the gym. I do. But some people don't like going to the gym. And so this is sort of like a fun workout that you can do.
Yeah, we actually have a class that we do on Wednesday mornings. It's called Aerial Fitness. So the idea is you're not learning hardcore tricks, but we're using the aerial apparatus and you're using your own weight for the exercise. So it's neat. It's almost like, I don't know what you call that in weightlifting or whatever, in fitness.
Isometric.
Supersets.
Using your own.
What's it called? Like supersets and stuff. I don't know what that comes from anyway. What is that weird workout?
Is it when you're just doing your own body weight?
Yeah. And you have you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this without stopping.
Oh, yeah. That'd be supersetting.
Right. So we do kind of like that in the room. So we have an area that will be like, you just do pull-ups from the trapeze that is swinging, or you are hanging from a silk, or you're doing jumping jacks, or jumping the rope, or whatever it is. So it's neat. Like, that's a class that it always fills out super quick.
Yeah.
And then we could have a wait list.
Now, if you're a CrossFitter, you're going to talk about your workout all the time, and no one wants to hear about it. But if you're a circus performer, you're doing some circus stuff, that's people are like, hey, what are you doing? And there's always going to be some neat things.
Yeah.
So if you've been listening, you know that Jaime is a really interesting person. He's just a great human. And not only would you get athletic and fit, you have some cool skills, but you'll also be able to see just how to do like a master performances. If you have not seen any of the Kinetic Tapestry performances, you're missing out.
And St. Louis is known for the circus. St. Louis is a very circus-heavy town. People don't believe me. It's like, you can kick a tree. There's a bunch of jugglers and an aerialist coming down. And we obviously, St. Louis has its own Circus Flora, that happens every June, that I always encourage people to go see it. The Shriners always bring a circus every March. And it's a fundraiser for the Shriners Hospital and stuff like that. It's great. I think it's March 22nd, that weekend this year. So it's neat.
Now, to be clear, we do not encourage kicking trees or any sort
Yes.
of anti-tree violence.
Yes, that's right. Hug them. Hug the trees.
Not hog the trees, but hug the trees. Trees are meant to be shared. Hey, so Jaime, thank you so much for
My
being a part of
pleasure.
this conversation, and thank you for being a part of Maryland Heights. If you
Yes.
don't know how to follow up with Jaime, Kinetic Tapestry.
17 years now.
.org.
It's been 17 years in Maryland Heights.
And what's your phone number again?
314-939-7760.
If somebody says, hey, I want to get something cool for my grandkids for Christmas or for their birthday,
Yeah,
they can do
we
like,
host birthday parties.
yeah, they can also do like a gift certificate to
Yeah.
like try circus school for
Yeah,
like a
we can
month
do
or
a
3.
birthday party, baptism celebrations, bridal showers, whatever it's called. What is it called? Brides. What is the thing before the wedding? What is the name of that in English?
Well, we have bridal showers.
Is that what it is?
Announcements.
Yeah. The last.
Bachelorette parties.
Yeah, that's what it is. The bachelorette parties. We do that, yes.
And bachelor parties or just the ladies?
Oh, it could be the man. That's the thing. Like, I would encourage anybody, if I can say this real quick, but if you're a guy or if you have boys, for some reason, they think that this is a girl thing. Like, we have really, like, our demographics in males are pretty low. People think that, oh, this is a girl thing. It's like, oh, no. There's so many things you can do that as a male in the circus that is just impressive. So.
Now, I'm actually surprised to hear that because for me, circus skills and tricks are usually very powerful. And so, you know, it's that kind of thing is easier for guys, but maybe senses of balance are better for women.
I don't think it's that. I just think like a lot of guys think it's like, oh, I'm not gonna stress. That's like doing ballet. You know, I don't want to do that. It's like you're lost.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're a guy, join the circus school because you'll meet a lot of ladies.
That's true. That's true. You will impress them.
Well, Jaime, I know that you said at the very beginning of our conversation that you really felt, and it wasn't just the Burger King, but it was the Lord telling you to bring joy to people.
Yep.
And Jaime, you always bring joy to me.
Amen.
You're bringing joy to so many
Thank
people, individuals that you're teaching and people that you are entertaining. And so thank you for being a part of Maryland Heights for 17 years now.
Yeah, 17 years.
And thank you for being a big reason why I love Maryland Heights.
Why did the tomato turn red?
Why?
Because it saw the salad dressing. I had that jokes before I was a dad. So